Okay, so now we get to Commanders, big underdogs at Detroit. I said it this week. This game for the Lions is kind of instructive. Think about this for a second. So Jared Goff is a pocket guy. But if Detroit wins this game, they'll have to face a mobile Jalen Hurts. And if they got to the Super Bowl, a mobile Lamar, a mobile Mahomes, a mobile Josh Allen. So in a way, if Jayden Daniels is a bit of a gift to play because on their roster, they don't practice against mobile quarterbacks. That's not what they do. And this is an opportunity to face a team that you're clearly better than. We don't know if they're better than Philly, Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. So I like Detroit in this game. But, I watched Jayden Daniels. I don't remember, maybe Andrew Luck, a rookie quarterback that was this good late in game situationally. What does the film say?
Yeah, and I think he just has a really good feel for movement. You know, we've talked for years, and I'm not making a direct comparison, so I don't want people to think I am, but we always talk about Patrick Mahomes and just his spatial awareness, just the way he kind of feels things and sees things without actually having to look at them. Daniels has a little bit of that to his game, and it's the movement element that's so difficult. And it's not just the design runs, which they call design runs, obviously, for Daniels, but just when he moves out of the pocket and the impact it has on the defense. I remember having a conversation with a very well-respected defensive coordinator a few years ago talking about mobile quarterbacks, and he said the problem is you literally have to practice two defenses all week long. You have to practice a defense for the first 2.5 seconds of a play, which is within the structure of the play. And then you have to practice what you do defensively after 2.5 seconds when the play becomes something totally different.
Right.
And he said that's really, really difficult to do. And, you know, that's why mobile quarterbacks are becoming more and more a factor in the league, and they're so difficult to defend. So in many cases, those guys don't have to be pristine from the pocket because they can just make plays that break down defenses. Yeah. And that's what Daniels can do. And those kinds of plays, Colin, become more critical, more sort of high leverage is the term people use in the fourth quarter of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the difference is that Jayden Daniels is pristine in the pocket. All right, maybe he's not pristine, has a couple grains of sand in there. He is a rookie, but the dude is different. Yeah, this is fascinating because one of the biggest reasons why I was confident, you know, my take for the Commanders going on the road against the Bucs was, you know, I had this conversation where I said, as long as Jayden Daniels doesn't get bit by some rookie quarterback bug in the playoffs, that the Commanders will win this game. And part of my argument was that I didn't like, first of all, I just didn't believe that the Bucs were this like great big team, and it was like, we're at home, no one can stop us. I didn't think that. I thought that Baker would make some mistakes and give them the opportunity, which ended up happening. Not exactly how I thought it was going to happen, but it still did happen. And I felt that I did not like how the Bucs played against mobile quarterbacks. I don't think they did a good job. I mean, again, there was moments when Spencer Rattler was looking like, you know, yo, man, I should have been the number 1 overall pick. And it's like, let's do this. And it was like, all right, you know, like some of those things really stuck out to me. And I was just like, okay, you know, this is what the Commanders will be able to do. And when you really look at it, let's take a look. This is the Josh Allen game. This is the Josh Allen game against the Bills, where he hung 48 points. Now, to be fair, the Lions defense it's hard because they were more injured at that point, but now they got some pieces back, but then they also potentially lost some pieces against the Vikings. So it's like, it's hard. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to know the defensive health of this Detroit Lions team, but let's just try to like put that to the side. We saw Josh Allen really did what he wanted to do. 23 for 34, 362 yards and 2 touchdowns. 11 carries and 68 yards. 6.2 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. And because of his mobility, he gave that Lions defense fits. There was many moments when it was like he was able to just kind of do that whole in-between, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to throw. I'm going to run. You know, like it was very much like playing with like a child, like you know, fake pass, you know, like, and it was playing with your food. Now, again, to be fair, at that point, this has already been a month ago, and people did get experience now playing Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is a different runner. That's also true. Josh Allen's also a different thrower, and the Buffalo Bills are a different offense. So, you know, again, you can't just compare. It's not apples to apples here. So I just don't want to. I'm not going to try to give such a simplified take. I always hate when I see that, when they're just like, you know, look what the Buffalo Bills did against the Lions. Therefore, this is what the Washington Commanders will do versus Lions. It's like it's not that simple, but it still is interesting. It still does signal something to you. But here's the thing: we know that the Lions are going to want to send such a message to Jayden Daniels that if you go for the run, we are going to try to knock your head off. We are going to just lay it on you. We are not here to play games. This is grown man football. And to be very clear, I'm not saying that the Lions are going to try to hurt him. I'm not trying to say that the Lions are going to be dirty. Like, I do not think that at all. They're just a very hard, physical, like, we are grown men playing grown men football. And we let everyone know that every single play of every single down of every single game. Like, they just go hard. And so that's, you know, like, it's, you got to be aware of that too. And you got to use it against them almost. You got to use it against them. It kind of reminds me of, and this is a silly example, but it makes sense. It really, really does. Brianna of Tarth or whatever from Game of Thrones. She was getting lessons from Jamie. I think it was Jamie Lannister or one of her people. And she was like, listen, I don't think it was against Jamie Lannister, but anyway, where she was like pretty much saying, they were the guy who was teaching her how to, you know, fight. He said, you know, essentially like, listen, when you go up against other men, they're going to go so hard because they don't want the fight to last, because it would be embarrassing for a fight to last against a woman like that it would be like, so they're going to go so hard, and you have to use that against them. Use the style of play of the Detroit Lions against them. Constantly, you know, be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Use it against them. Use that intensity that the Lions want to bring against them. And honestly, that's what Josh Allen was able to do, because it was just kind of like, if you want to come after me, again, like, I get to just run around in circles. You can't get me. And if you now really try to contain me and get after me, well, now you're leaving guys open, man. And again, what you think? I can't throw? Like, what is this, my first day in the NFL? Like, please. And so that's where you're going to need Jayden Daniels, like, in control. In control. And he's always in control. He's always in control. But I do think, at second glance, and again, I praise Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels is unbelievable. I've sung his praises from before he's ever stepped foot on a football field in the NFL. But it is interesting. I've seen now a lot of clips. Man, the Washington Commanders took over Tampa Bay. They took over. When Jayden Daniels threw the one touchdown pass, I don't remember which one it was, and I wish I could show you a game footage of it. You would have thought it was a home game. They were roaring. Like, it was crazy. That's not what it's going to be like in Detroit. If it is, somehow, I just don't see how it would even remotely be possible. That would blow my mind. That would blow my mind that the Commanders haven't then been talked about 5 times a day, every single day on all of these sports shows, because it would show you that the Commanders fan base is just different. So I don't imagine that's going to happen in Detroit. So that was a very forgiving road game for the Washington Commanders. And so it's going to be a different experience. It's going to be louder. I can promise you there's going to be times that Jayden Daniels can't hear. Just the way it's going to be. There's going to be moments where Jayden Daniels just cannot hear. I do not think he experienced that in Tampa Bay. And again, to be clear, it's not like I'm saying Jayden Daniels isn't going to be able to handle it. He's just a little guy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different. And Cliff Kingsbury needs to be aware of that. Dan Quinn needs to be aware of that. The other people around Jayden need to be aware of that. Like, it's just going to be a different environment with a different mentality, with a different approach. So And again, the other key thing is that this run game, Josh Allen was able to get 68 yards, 11 carries for 68 yards, and throw for 362. But he also had Cook go for a 105 on 14 carries, averaging 7.5 yards per carry. So that matters too. That matters too. That's why it can't all just be Jayden. I already said that in order for the Commanders to win this game, you will have to leave feeling that Jayden Daniels is just unbelievably great, one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen, in my entire life. And you felt that when you saw Josh Allen play. When you saw Josh Allen play, you were just like, this is just a thing of beauty, man. What this guy just does whatever he wants. It's just crazy. And it's pretty awesome to be able to say that when he went 23 for 34, so technically 10 throws didn't work out for him. And I don't remember how those, remember they were bad throws off his finger, who knows. But I'm just saying, so it doesn't mean that, a perfect game can still look imperfect. So, yeah. The other difference, though, is that the O-line for the Buffalo Bills is also really, 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 really good as well. So that, of course, helps it, too. But, yeah, I don't know. This matchup, it's like the more I think about it, so this is one of those things where you can get yourself in trouble when you overthink something. And this is the problem, honestly, with playoff games, is that you have so much extra time to just keep focusing on these two teams or on one team. And it's like 1 minute, you're just like, nah, they don't really have a chance. The next minute, you're like, actually, I think they do have a chance. And you're like, actually, I think they have a really good chance. Then you're actually like, actually, I don't see how they lose this game. Actually, they're winning the Super Bowl. They're winning the next 5 Super Bowls. Like you just kind of can keep going down. And so, it's I almost kind of, next time around, just kind of make a conclusion, stick with it, and then continue to make content, but be like, I'm not moving away no matter how much I overthink this. I'm just going to go with what I thought initially. And I always believed that the Commanders have a chance. I really, really do. But it's just like the more I look at some of these things, the more I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Do they actually even have more of a chance than I'm even giving them credit for? And again, I've given them plenty of credit. So, yeah, man. This game could be sneakily pretty awesome. I might live stream this game. I don't know. I might keep this game for myself so I can just kind of watch it and, really get lost into it. But if not, if there's a high interest in it, especially because I'm going to be live streaming the game before the Texans versus the Chiefs, depending on how all that unfolds and how that goes, I might just keep the live stream going and, stream this game as well. And so if that's something that you guys would be interested in, definitely let me know in the comments below. Again, I can't promise it. Again, it all depends on how much the Texans-Chiefs game goes, as well as if I just reach a conclusion that, I kind of just want to watch this game alone, get lost in it, take notes, because these are two teams that I've watched every single game of, and I'm very familiar with them, and I want to see both these teams win. This is I watched an NFL live clip before where I forget the one girl's name, but she's like talking about the Bills-Ravens game, and she was like, oh, can't, I know that she's like, this, you're going to make fun of me for saying this, but can't both these teams just win? And honestly, that's the way how I feel about the Commanders and the Lions. They're both awesome. They both deserve to be able to continue to move forward in the playoffs. But you know what? We don't live in a kumbaya world. I wish we did. I wish we lived in a kumbaya purgatory. We don't. So someone's got to lose. And, who's it going to be? It's up to them to figure that out. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders and how they match up against the Detroit Lions and this whole idea that, they might not look so good against these mobile quarterbacks? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.